Now let's shift to Chairman Wontumi and the problems that he's had over the past few days. Chairman Nchubosako is saying, oh, eventually he's out of EOCO. My concern when I was talking to his people and to himself was that, but Chairman, why do you take $45 million from the Cocoa board and you didn't do the road? What's the meaning of that? He said, me. Now, Cocoa for no, we road no ya Mauska. Let's say Mauska Safako road. Ghana, how what be that? Yeah, Mauska Safako, oh, yeah, road no ya na abeju sika. Now, when I'm discussing fine road, well, when propaganda. I said, well, when I heard that, I was very worried. The Chairman want to really take money from Cocoa board and didn't do the road as significant as such money? Then I also asked him that, what about the cars? They say you stolen. He said, the people I bought the cars from, I told them I bought the cars from this person, and the EOCO has called us. Oh, I'm from now. What down for no crack? I won't mention his name. What down for? Some talk and be on the hold. No, I salam down. So, well, no, we talk at him. My catch the homo. Into my friend, I make a man, Tono Abridge. They be talk Ghana. Obi Ton car, I'm safe a car, mamma, no, the car, mamma, must stole a mongo bisane. I mean, I don't know. It's all the time pattern is always important, but we are all happy that Chairman Wontumi is out, and we're going to talk about that in great significance today. I'm getting a lot of messages on the tax. I'll deal with the tax on Thursday in some significant way, okay? And I also reveal to you the steps that are happening with the Ansansa Delhi issue. Tomorrow there are a lot of meetings with lawyers happening. Documentation are going to be put together. They want me to say a little bit, but not to say all. So there are lawyers in America. There are lawyers in Ghana. I thought I was just texting one of the lawyers in America. I wanted some information. I've given it to him. So there's a lot happening. Okay. All right. So that's 9 minutes past the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. Now, the Supreme Court today overturns the High Court's ruling in Bisu OSP legal battle. We know that the OSP has been fighting Charles Bisu, I don't know what for, about some videotape that Anas did. Of course, you know that Kisa Adabe used to be lawyer for Anas. They are bosom friends, they are partners, etc., etc. And this is what the story says. The Supreme Court, and incidentally, the lawyer who argued this case successfully, the same lawyer on my seat now. So don't worry, there's a lot that we're going to hear tonight. The Supreme Court has overturned a High Court's ruling that dismissed an application filed by the former secretary to the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, Charles Bisu, at the Human Rights Division of the High Court. Charles Bisu filed an application there that was dismissed. Let's see. The application was filed against the Office of the Special Prosecutor in relation to the handling of criminal complaints against him. The case stems from allegations of corruption and related offenses against Charles Bisu following the airing of an investigative documentary by journalist Nas Arimiya Nas. Subsequent to the airing of the documentary, the OSP declared Bisu a wanted person. In response, Bisu secured an injunction from the courts to prevent the OSP from enforcing the arrest. In June 2023, he filed a case at the Human Rights Court accusing the OSP of unlawfully securing the arrest warrant. The OSP, however, denied the existence of any such arrest warrant and argued that it did not require judicial authorization to arrest Bisu. The Kaneshi District Court, which Bisu claimed had issued the alleged warrant, also denied ever granting such an order. This position was supported by the Attorney General, who represented the District Court. Attorney General here refers to Dominica in his outfit. Despite this, Bisu's legal team cited a public interview granted by the Special Prosecutor on Joy FM's news file as evidence of the alleged warrant. They argued that the judge should listen to the interview audio before making a determination. However, the judge dismissed the case without reviewing the audio, which to his lawyer was contrary to an earlier indication that it will be conceded. Bisu subsequently filed a judicial review application at the Supreme Court, seeking to quash the High Court's decision and prohibit the presiding judge from continuing to hear the case. According to Bisu's lawyers who are in the studio today, the Supreme Court has now directed the High Court to determine whether the arrest warrant was lawfully obtained. In response to the Supreme Court's ruling, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has indicated that it will now expect to cross-examine Bisu's legal team in court. Speaking to City News after the proceedings, Bisu's lawyer, Naneje Bafo, emphasized the significance of the case in setting a precedent on the legal authority of the OSP to issue arrest warrants. Meanwhile, in a related development, the criminal court is expected to consider a plea agreement tomorrow between the OSP and Thomas Andiowusu, the second accused in the case titled The Republic versus Charles Bisu and another. So, the OSP went to Supreme Court and he was told that the conversation that was the guy's name, Samuel Darko, Sami Darko, he talks quite a bit. Sami Darko talks quite a bit. I mean, I don't know how much seasoned lawyer he is, and when he talks, I don't know whether his constitutional law is sound or not, but that's up to him. And he talks quite a bit, and he talks a whole lot. I mean, he was a journalist. I'm not sure the extent of distinction he got in journalism, but he went to study law. He talks a lot. So he's the one who has created problem for Kisi Ajabe, because he went on Joy FM to blab. And the blabbing has created a problem for Kisi Ajabe, who wanted to say that I didn't get any arrest warrant. And they said, but the guy was on Joy FM, said that there was an arrest warrant that was obtained. And then they played it and said, yes, you got an arrest warrant. The arrest warrant was not properly taken. The High Court should look at it. That's the kinds of things that the OSP does. But now we are moving straight into the OSP's big conversation. Do you have a video of him talking about Ken Ofori-Atta, and then we can move on? Now, this is the OSP here. This is Kisi Ajabe flying in this plane to go and interview President Mahama's brother abroad. He didn't even tell us that he was taking taxpayers' money to fly abroad to interview President Mahama's brother. Kisi Ajabe didn't tell us. He took taxpayers' money, your money, my money, 10 cedis, 5 cedis, 20 cedis, 6 cedis, the money that you pay at the tour. When the Abaye people go and beat them in Makola, the money they collect, they give it to Kisi Ajabe to buy air tickets and fly to go and interview President Mahama's brother. He came back and said, there's no problem with the Airbus. We are happy with that. No problem. President Mahama is clean. But if you were able to do this for somebody who didn't hold public office, for somebody who didn't know how much money we were going to get from him, you were able to fly abroad to, and he didn't go alone. He went to military, police, and all those things he does. He travels with Ghanaian police. Him in New York. You travel with him. I've been on the plane with him so many times. I've seen him in London. He said he won't shake my hand. I didn't mind him. You see him on the plane. You see plenty of soldiers around him. That's how he travels. So he takes your money, my money. He travels with himself, his security, blah, blah, blah. And they all travel. He goes with people who are not supposed to be staff of the OSP, who are staff of the OSP, but their time will come. Their time is coming. It will surely come. They are not staff of the OSP. They are on the OSP list. He travels with them. He pays taxpayers' money. He goes to interview President Mahama's brother. Well, how did I know? It is in his own report. It is in Kisi Ajabe's own report. It is there that he traveled to go and see President Mahama's brother. That is fine. No problem about it. But if you're able to go and fly to see, okay, he's here. The OSP interviewed former President Dramani Mahama on 5th January 2024 in Accra. On its own, OSP located and interviewed Samuel Adam Foster, Philip Sean Middlemiss, Leanne Sarah Davis, and Sarah Fenel outside Ghana in March 2024 in the presence of their counsel. You flew out, this is OSP's report, 5.18. You flew out to go and interview Samuel Adam Mahama. This is 8th August 2024, report of investigations into alleged bribery of Ghanaian officials by Airbus. Now, you are investigating bribery of Ghanaian officials by Airbus. You were able to travel to go and interview Samuel Adam Foster. I know him. Samuel, I've met him before. I met him in Accra here. And you were able to go and interview Samuel Adam Foster in London. Samuel Adam Foster, the allegation was that he has participated in some bribery. It's just an allegation. We don't know. You are here telling us that Ken Ofori-Atta has $58 million he sank in the cathedral hole that you are going to collect. So we at least, you've assured us that there's some $58 million to collect from Ken. Can't you take a small fraction of that money to go and interview in America so that you go with your processes? Criminal lawyers tell me today that if you have the documents, you don't need Ken Ofori-Atta. You can go to the court and begin his prosecution. And when you have finished his prosecution, you can get him. When they pronounced Sedina Tamaklo guilty, was she in Ghana? Was Sedina Tamaklo in Ghana? Look at Kisi Ajabe. Somebody was teaching criminal law. He was teaching criminal law. When you have a personal vendetta against people, you can expose yourself this way. It's terrible. That's not how the republic should be built. Sedina Tamaklo was pronounced guilty here in Accra. She was not here. She is still not here. I saw a picture from a post by Vomao today, who was urging the Attorney General that before you do anything, bring Sedina Tamaklo back. I think it's a reasonable post, but it's up to them. Sedina Tamaklo was not in Ghana when she was pronounced guilty. You have been able to take plane to go and interview somebody. You cannot do the same for somebody that you have assured us that our 58 million is with him. I don't know. Lawyer Bafo.
Yes, sir.
The ball is in your court. Where are we on this matter? You have been studying the OSP's issues in Parliament. Where are we on this matter?
Thank you very much for having me. And before we proceed, I want to commend highly the minority in Parliament. They are doing a fantastic work. But for their oversight, a yarn was going to be pulled through their eyes. We wouldn't have seen today that the so-called petrol levy, we now call it P levy or
D levy. Doomsaw levy.
Doomsaw levy. But in fact, Afenyo exposed them. They wanted to quickly move it through the House without a scintilla of information that was actually a tax that was going to be imposed. was Asfenyo that stood up and said, why don't you tell us that this is a levy that we are going to pay on every liter of fuel, 1 cedi?
But it sounds like it's not a lot of money. Until I've now seen posts about comparing Ken Ofori-Attah's 1 cedi on e-levy of 1 cedi on 100 cedis of e-levy. And the petrol thing is what, 12 cedis?
It's 12 cedis.
A liter.
A liter. Mm-hmm. And you are going to...
So if you buy 1 liter, you pay 13 cedis.
You pay 13 cedis.
Okay.
Paul, and the interesting thing is that, today, petrol seems to be down because of the dollar.
Yes.
The strength of the dollar having been weakened. Mm-hmm. But when it goes up, that is when we are going to feel it.
It may not go up. President Mahama says it will range between 10 and 12.
In the year 2013 or 2014 thereabouts, then Finance Minister Tepe introduced the special petroleum levy, 17.5%. They told us it wasn't too much. But anytime fuel prices went up, that is when we felt it. Without the 17.5%, I'm sure would have paid less. And it's the same thing. As soon as the petrol prices start going up, we'll feel it. And we know that...
So if you buy 1 gallon, which is what? Which is how many liters?
I think is it 10?
No, it's not 10. It's less than 10.
It's less than...
It's about 5 or
It's
something.
about 5, yes.
Yeah.
So you are going to pay 5 cedis on every...
On 1 gallon.
On 1 gallon. And so if you happen to buy more, can you imagine how much you are paying on every gallon? The impact is wider.
Is the impact going to transfer by drivers onto the people?
Of course. It's going to be transferred by drivers onto people. And it's wider.
But is it true that Ken Ofori-Attah was charging 1 cedi on 100 cedis?
I think it was even less. It was supposed to be 1% or so.
Yeah, 1%. So 100 is 1. Yes. 1%.
Yes. And that they said was too harsh. Worst of it, the e-levy, it was not rushed through Parliament in the manner which it is happening today. The bill was only introduced in Parliament today under a certificate of urgency. And as we speak, my colleagues are still there, having to watch the bill go through the motions.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
They're doing first reading, second reading, third reading all now.
Everything today.
At 10:20, Parliament is sitting.
The very people that accused and lambasted the Akufo-Addo government for wanting to pass the e-levy, even though the e-levy, there was a lot of stakeholder engagement and so on and so forth. This one, there's even no stakeholder engagement.
GPRC have not been told.
There's no stakeholder engagement. No stakeholder engagement is being done. And this has been done so cleverly, if you observed. The budget came to Parliament not long ago.
Without it.
Subsequently, they have brought it. Nothing stops them. But they know that if they had brought it to Parliament together with the budget, there would have been a lot of rancor. So deliberately, you see how they've paced it. Unfortunately, but they are being exposed.
Well, but it will be passed. They have the majority, they have numbers.
Yes.
It will be passed.
Yes. But, our colleagues in Parliament are doing a fantastic work. The leadership, I commend them. The senior members on our side, motivating all of us from day to day, sharing ideas, giving us tidbits as to how to approach things. So I want to use this opportunity to commend them highly. They are doing a fantastic work. Our numbers haven't proven to be a weakness. So I commend them.